How's it going, traders? Up Wall Street back with another morning review. Let's take a look at the focus list. So we are looking at Zeta. Now, Zeta had news yesterday after market close. They're starting a partnership with OpenAI. So I had grabbed a position I think it was, actually, no, it was last month. I think it was around December 10th. I think it was right around here. I sort of completed ABC move with a potential wave 2 and then a 1-2 setup. It turned out to be this was the 1-2 setup here, right? But it's slight undercut of that low didn't really stop me out. I had my stops under that low because obviously under this low, then you're probably seeing a bigger pullback. But in this case, ABC retracement was in. 1-2 setup is done for wave 3. And what do we usually see in wave 3? Well, if I turn off after hours, we see a gap up, right? So there's your gap up. There's your 10% gap up this morning on Zeta. Now, the only thing it didn't do is it didn't gap over the 1-2 channel. And so what I'd want to see today is a push maybe to $27, possibly $28. If we don't see that, we run the risk of getting a rejection as we're seeing right now. Yesterday's candle, after hours candle rejection off the 1-2 channel top. And now this morning, the candle opening up, it was up around, I think around 12, 13% at the high. It's pulling back a little bit. So what I may do is take off a quarter of my position into the open and then kind of let it sit and wait. Now my contracts are out till I think March, so we've got plenty of time. Squeeze is already fired, so we're getting expansion there. Let's take a quick peek at RSI. So RSI is extended, right? It is overbought, which is okay, right? Overbought RSI is not a bad thing. I think that's kind of a misnomer with traders that when they see, stocks that get over 70 on RSI and they consider them overbought, it means that it's time to sell. No, that's not the case, right? And we can take a look at here where RSI was oversold from May 7th to around May 24th, and look at the move you got after that, right? It cooled off a little bit, but it held over 50, and that's what we look for with RSI. We want it to get overbought and then cool off and stay between 50 and 70 as we get expansion to the upside. So if this is indeed a 1-2 setup, as I think this is, then what we're going to see in the coming weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, is a bigger wave 3, maybe upwards of $34. And so far so good on Zeta. All right, next up is Vitcore. Now this one was very similar to the 2025 setups with VSAT and ALAB, right? High tight flag, 4 to 6 week base breakout, back test, bounce. And this is exactly what we got. I decided to play Vitcore with shares and not options because there was no liquidity. And this is a great kind of teaching moment as well. Look at the bullish RSI, what we just spoke about. Right, so RSI, let's make this a little larger so we can see it. RSI gets overbought right here, right? And then it kind of cools off in the range, but it never dips below 50. That's what you want to see. And now when price starts to expand, we're overbought again. And so that's what we look for. That's the type of relative strength that we want in a breakout, and it allows me as a trader, I got in right around here, right around like $90, and now we're at $140 in maybe 2 months, about a month and a week, in about 5 weeks, we got about 60% move. So that's kind of the trades that I look for, right? I don't really take 3 or 4 trades a week. Maybe I take 3 or 4 trades a month, right? But I'm really looking for high quality, relative strength, strong thematic names that are going to pay us really well over the short to medium term. And maybe more towards that medium term, I would say 3 to 6 months out. And if we could hold it for longer than 6 months, fantastic. Right? ON is another example of a position that I built, I want to say about 3 weeks ago, inside of this tight price action here in a bull flag. And very similarly, like I mentioned in my 2025 going into 2026 note, I'm really going to be focusing on clean wave structure for my trade ideas moving forward, because I just feel like, it just cleans up a lot of the noise that's in the market, right? There are so many good setups, but maybe they're not A+ setups. Maybe they're like C+, B+, B+ type setups. I'm really looking for those A+ type setups that I can just, focus on them. Now, look at the 1-2 channel here on ON. So what I'm watching for here, so here's your change of character, here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here's your ABC retracement, so everything looks pretty clean, pretty good. There's your 1-2 trend line breakout into a flat base, right? You want to see a bull flag or a bull pennant setting up. Prior area of resistance, right? 56.47. We just broke through that. But look at where we are. We're really only at the center channel. So center channel resistance, center channel resistance, center channel resistance. And so what I want to see, in the coming weeks on ON is a breakthrough that center channel and a test here of 63.72. That's going to be your prior wave 1 high. If we break through that, I think we'll see an outsized move, maybe upwards of 75 to 83 in, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks. Now, I'm just throwing a number out there because I don't know, right? We can gap up, tomorrow 10% and then in 3 days get up to $83, right? I just don't know what I don't know. I don't know what the catalyst might be. I don't know if there's news coming down. I also don't know if this is going to break here and fail, right? I mean, it absolutely can happen, right? That's trading. But what I do is I put the technicals in front of me and I try and analyze them in a way that makes sense to me and the way I trade. And I know where I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I stop out. But if I'm right, we make money. And that's really what it's about. All right, so this one still looks